Hey everyone, so this is for practicing mediums, people that are learning mediumship, and not so much for those of you who like tarot. So if you're a tarot person, you can watch it, but it's focusing on mediumship. So what I wanted to talk to you about today was a recent situation I had, and I've had this situation before, and I just thought, no one ever covered this situation in any of my classes. And I think it's important that there's something out there. There's got to be somewhere, but I have not come across it. So I'm going to put it out there for people that are learning mediumship, or even if you're a practiced medium and you've been doing it for quite a while. These situations, there still are awkward situations. I ran into one of those awkward situations today. I was reading for a girl and a guy came through, and the guy was showing me things that made me feel pretty uncomfortable. He had been somebody that really oogled up girls, eyed them up, said inappropriate things to them, was that flirty kind, but kind of the creepy kind of flirty kind, made you feel uncomfortable. He showed me an instance where he was in the car, got a girl in his car, and was doing things to her, and she was trying to get away from him, and she was very uncomfortable, and she did not like it whatsoever. So he was showing me a lot of things, and why is he showing me these things? We as mediums, we experience a lot of things that can be quite uncomfortable because people want to come back and they want to say what they need to say, and we have to honor that as difficult as it is. What I do in that situation, because my thoughts are, I don't know who he's directing this to. I don't know if he's harmed my client, right? And there have been people that have come through that my client has said, I don't want to hear from that person. I'm not ready to talk to them. I don't want to hear from them. And I will end the reading at that point. So one, I always suggest when it starts getting really uncomfortable and you're starting to get some really personal stuff about maybe this person even harmed people, you need to stop and ask your client, this is some pretty uncomfortable things. Is this something you want me to continue with? And my client today said, yes, I want to hear this. I know who this is, and I want to hear this. And so, okay, you keep going, right? Regardless of what memories it's stirring up, my client said yes, so I honored that. All right, so we continued, and the person really, and this has been my experience when these people come through, really wanted to apologize. He literally was saying I was a pervert, I was a creep. He said it got the best of him, but he admitted he could have got help, and he didn't, and that was his choice, to let it get the best of him. He took responsibility for the way he acted. He said he had such strong drives in this life, like that, the power over women that gave him to treat them that way, that and kind of just like, literally in his words, kind of a sexual perversion that he just couldn't quite control. And at the same time, he was acknowledging that he could have controlled it. He didn't try to control it, right? He didn't try to get the help he needed to get to control it. So in that situation, my client wanted me to continue, and I continued. All right, so I've described this guy. I've described exactly what he looks like, kind of balding, little hair on the sides, not especially tall man. He wore khakis or tan pants anyways. I could see him in those. I even got that he may have worked at a school, and he did. So lots and lots of really good evidence. This was him. I mean, there was no doubt this was the person she thought it was. Now, this person was someone who meant a lot to her at one point in her life. And when we stopped and she started talking to me after the reading, she said she had just been talking to him, this was her significant other, about how much it hurt her all the years when he would look women up and down right in front of her. So he was doing that stuff right in front of her, and she's still in the healing process. And she said she was having this conversation and letting him know, now that he's passed, how much that hurt her. And clearly he heard that, and he knew, and he came back, and he was apologizing to her again and again throughout this reading. He apologized. Now, here's the caveat, and here's what I want everybody to know. She didn't want to accept any of that stuff with him in the car with the girl, and that he may have forced himself on someone. She was just like, that could not have happened, so I don't even know if this could be my significant other, no matter that everything else matched exactly. She just could not accept that. So then she started wanting to not believe any of the reading, because she didn't want to believe that really, really uncomfortable stuff. She's struggling already with just the fact that he looked at women, and now he's admitting in the reading that he may have done even more than that. It wasn't just looking, and he's apologizing. He's apologizing, and he's explaining the way he felt and how it got the best of him. Okay, so what do you do at that point? Your client now is like, I don't want to accept any of this. I mean, she knew it was him. She's like, yes, this was right, this was right, this was right, this was right. Pretty much everything was right. But she did not want to accept that situation in the car. Me as a medium at that point, I just say, okay, listen, I'm not here to try to convince somebody. I'm not here to bring them to a point in their life that they're not ready to meet. Now, her ex-husband came through, and I honor that too. I feel like medium sessions, you say what you see, and he brought that through, and I felt that may have been significant for her. And actually, in the beginning, I just said a little bit. I said, he's showing me instance in a car with he's with a girl in a car. And the girl's feeling very uncomfortable. I didn't go into it. But she wanted later. She went, I want you to go back to the car. What did you see? And so right there, that tells you she was curious about that situation, right? And then I explained it further. So that's how I handle it. If I see a really uncomfortable moment, I may just say, the girl in the car is very uncomfortable right now. It feels like he's approaching her in a way that she doesn't feel comfortable with. Okay, I'll say it really just kind of glossing over really the dirty details, if you will, because I don't want to bring up, maybe she was the girl in the car, right? I don't know. And I don't want to bring up maybe someone's biggest nightmare here. I'm just going to gloss over it. I'm not going to say the details. But when she asked me for the details, I gave her the details, and she wanted those details. But then she also didn't want to believe it. And she didn't want to take the reading in the sense that she wanted to say, well, maybe this is somebody else. Maybe it's not him. Maybe it's somebody else. That's fine. I'll go with that. Yeah, maybe it's somebody else. It doesn't matter to me, right? I gave the message, and she wanted the message, and the person came through, and I honored the spirit energy that came through, and he told me all that he had to say, and I relayed it, and I relayed his apologies. And that's what's important. That's the most important. It doesn't matter at any point if they want to dismiss the reading, even if everything is exact. That's okay. They're not ready. You know, sometimes things come through that maybe someone's not ready for. Maybe she'll never be ready for it. He needed to apologize to her. He needed to get that off his chest and to tell her those things and to apologize. So I honored him and his needs as well. And if she doesn't want to accept it and she doesn't want to take that, I honor that as well, right? We're here for the spirit. We're here for the client. We're here for both of them in this great blending of energies on what comes through. And in that reading, there's a lot of healing that needs to be done on both sides. I'm just a conduit in that. I'm just saying what I'm getting. That healing, though, I hope just that little bit is a step forward for her, and I know it was for him. So that's the way I handle those situations when things get uncomfortable. When someone's saying things that maybe the person's not ready for. You don't know as a medium what someone's ready for or not. You're just there giving the message that you get. You have no idea how someone's going to accept that message or not accept it. And if they don't accept it, that's okay. I don't try to make it fit in any way. I don't try to say, well, you said this, and this is right. I think that's probably him. I'm thinking that, but I'm not going to force anything on anybody. That's for them to accept or not accept. And you know she will accept it eventually. She knows that's him. She just doesn't want to believe that other stuff. And who can blame her? Who can blame her? If it's easier for her to say, no, 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 that's okay. That's okay. So just accept that that's going to happen sometime with clients. Sometimes information will come through that for whatever reason, they don't want to accept. And that's okay. That's okay. They don't have to accept it. You just have done your job. Your job is to be the conduit, to relay the message. If you've done that job and you've given the message, that's all that needs to be done. So there's some of the sticky situations that we find ourselves in the middle of, and you just do your best, right? That's all you can do, is just do your best. It's not easy, this being in the middle and being a conduit, because you're dealing with a lot of emotions. Absolutely dealing with a lot of emotions and a lot of things. Let's face it. I mean, mediumship is very healing. But to heal, you have to feel sometimes things that you have been suppressing. Sometimes things that feel a little overwhelming. So it's a first step. And I believe today that woman took a first step. And I think that apology meant a lot to her. So I think she's on the right path after our reading and taking the right steps. And that's ultimately our goal. Hope and healing is what I say in my mediumship. That's what it's all about. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.